All right, so the last time we talked, I was telling you about my story about how I found out I was diagnosed with PCOS. This video, I will tell you about the ugly, the worst parts of my PCOS journey. Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. This is Taisha here for those who are new. So I'm here back with another episode, and I want to tell you about the worst part of my work experiences with PCOS thus far. I'm gonna take a quick second because my hands are ashy and it's gonna drive me crazy. Hold on, give me a second. A quick little something. You can tell I don't lotion every day. I probably should, but not my strong point. Okay. It's alright though. It's gonna be strong. Alright, so this week's episode, I'm sorry, y'all, do podcasts in this episode. So today's video, I'm talking about the ugliest part of my PCOS journey that I've experienced thus far. I'm gonna use my phone. I took notes on my phone because it's easier for me. I tend to forget things. So if you see me looking down or whatever, it's because I have my phone. All right, so yeah, after my diagnosis, I was in a transition in my life. So I was in college. I finished college? No, I was still in the middle of college, and I had decided to move back home. I think I mentioned that in the PCOS story diagnosis video. And I was really trying to figure it out. So I moved back in with family. It was just like the situation. I went from being on my own or having my own space and being able to, you know, just kind of move freely without being asked and everything like that, and having access to places to like work out, and I had like more control over my meals and things like that. And when I moved in with family, it just looked different, and adjusting to that really kind of really threw me off track. So literally from the time I moved back home and was diagnosed with PCOS was when all the shit started. So I had my primary symptoms were weight gain, like a lot of weight gain. I mentioned I gained like 10 pounds in a week in my last video. So that, I had a lot of hair in my face, and I do think that looking back that I did have high anxiety and depression, or not even, I was not diagnosed, but depressive symptoms is what I'll call it. And my anxiety was just really not the best. So I was in a transitional period, but I don't think that helped. And because I was in that transitional period, I didn't have my own space, and cooking was just, I was just trying to figure out what that looked like. So I ate out all the time. I was eating like crazy. I was eating on the go. It just was not conducive for someone who has PCOS. And at the time, I really didn't know that because, again, if you recall, I was not educated on it. I didn't know anything. All I knew was it was a hormone imbalance, and that was because of Google. So that was my understanding, and that's all I knew. And in my mind, having a lifestyle change, exercising right now, or eating super healthy or anything like that just wasn't happening, and it did not happen. So from 2016 to like 2017, it was pretty bad. And between 2016 and 2017, it got really bad. So that's when I started. And for those of you who are new to this or may not be familiar with PCOS, please know this is TMI because it does get a little bit detailed. I'm gonna tell you the details. So I don't know how long it was after that, but somewhere between 2016 and 2017, I started bleeding heavy. It was kind of like random. Like, I'll never forget, because I was feeling fine for the most part, but I remember taking a nap, and I don't know about anybody else, but I remember taking a nap, and I woke up to like blood gushing, and I thought that I was like, okay, my periods ain't never been like this. This is like weird. And I wasn't expecting one either. But it was like a gush of blood, and I was like, what the hell is this? So I went to the bathroom, and it was like clots like coming out. And that was the first time that had ever happened. I was like, okay, I usually like to give things some time, because maybe it's something I just need to monitor for a minute. So I did. And it was just weird because like after a clot would pass, there was really no flow. Like it would just stop. And I said, okay, that's interesting. That's new. I have never experienced that before. But then it started happening more frequently. So I literally was wearing like diapers, couldn't really wear tampons like that, because I just like it was literally just clots passing, or there was just nonstop bleeding of some sort on some level. And I was like, okay, this is not gonna work. And for the most part, I lived with it, and it was difficult. So I'm literally wearing like diaper pads or just like tampons all the time. It was just really uncomfortable, and make sure I didn't forget anything. And so I was just like, I was miserable. I was miserable. So I'm getting ready to graduate. Yeah, I'm getting ready to graduate. Oh no, so those are a few years. Timeline, it don't matter. This is what happened in this order. I think it might have been a few years in between my diagnosis and when the clot started. It had to be at least like a year, because I know I'm not. No, it wasn't. Or maybe it was. I'm saying this because it's been a minute since I graduated, and I am starting to forget the year I graduated. But it was always, I remember right around graduation. So it had been going on for at least, I know, 3 to 6 months, if not longer. So either I was clotting or I was just bleeding for long periods of time, very, very long periods of time. And it was just a sense of uncertainty for months. It was uncomfortable. It was not fun. I just felt horrible. I was heavy. I remember my uncle telling me that my belly was getting big, like specifically saying that my belly was getting big. And if you're familiar with with PCOS symptoms, a lot of your weight gain you carry in your belly. My doctor calls it a tire, so you'll get like a tire in your midsection just from literally being bloated, and just gaining weight. I was walking around like that, and it was just bad. So I remember though, because the first time I ever got any type of medication for it, because I didn't do the first time I ever got medication for it and took it, because I wasn't a birth control type of girl. That is not my speed. I don't do that. I remember my doctor offering me birth controls literally every single doctor's visit, and I was like, no, I just don't do birth control. And I did not. So this time though, because the clots had gotten so bad and there was no end in sight for my bleeding, I needed something, because I had planned a trip to Punta Cana for my graduation. And I was like, Doc, I remember telling him, look, I don't know what's going on right now. I can't tell you, but I can't be bleeding on this trip. Like, I've got to be able to enjoy myself, and I'm not going to be able to fully enjoy myself knowing that I have this going on with my body. Like, this is the time where I'm supposed to be like living and celebrating, and I really can't be in the moment. I can't be bleeding on this trip. He's like, all right, cool, I'm gonna give you some progesterone. So that was the first time I was prescribed something outside of birth control for my PCOS. So I took progesterone. I don't remember the dosage or anything like that. I do remember that it was like specific days out of the month, and so then the bleeding would stop, and I was regular for months. Like, I took it for a few months. I got about 3 to 4, maybe like 6. I took it for a while, but after a few months I started feeling like, I guess, like, I'm gonna say pain or like aches. And I think it was like always right around the time that I was ovulating, I'm assuming. All I know is, because prior to being diagnosed, I was regular, very, very regular. So I've had cramps but I ain't never really felt ovulating before like that. Or maybe I just never paid attention to it. I'm sorry, I'm gonna have a little distracted by it. I'm just looking around the room. But anyway, but I ain't never ever experienced, like, I describe it as it felt like my ovaries were about to like pop out of my, like, jump out of my body. Like, I ain't never felt anything that intense. And so for me, it was like, I can't do this every month, because it just really it started out subtle and then it got intense. That's when I was like, okay, no thank you. So I stopped taking them, and I went back to my doctor. I said I can't take them. I can't do it, I'm sorry. So after that, I just stopped taking them. And of course, my symptoms started to get bad again. So the clotting came back, and this time I would bleed for longer periods of time. So I would bleed for months, a month, 2 months. Shit, it could have been longer. I really don't know. Because I just kind of lost count. At that point, I was just really trying to gear up. And I had, like, the pads I needed to have and things of that sort. And that was really, like, my life for a very long time. But after a while, it got progressively worse. So then my weight was getting up there. The highest I got to was 224. And, or like, was almost 225. It's like 228, 224.8 or something like that. And I remember just my body aching. My back was trash because I was working from home, which did not help, because this is also now it's like 2019 going into 2020. So 2019, like, after I stopped taking, so let's about 2019 to 2020, and it was bad. But I remember a couple of occasions where I think I'm gonna call them like almost faint spells. Like, so I went to take photos for a friend, and I met him. Like, I was energized, I had energy, I felt fine when I got there. But the heat that summer was, of course, bad. And I remember like going up steps, and I did not go up the steps fast or anything. And I remember just literally feeling like I was about to pass out. I could not stand up any longer. I sat down. I was like, okay, give me a second. And then I would stand up and I would get dizzy. So then I was like, okay, I have to lay down. I can't go. Like, when I say I couldn't move, I couldn't walk, I couldn't get up off the ground. I felt so bad. Thankfully, it was my friend and not like a client. But I was taking my friend's picture because I was just like shooting to shoot. And I remember her, like, she's a doula, so she was pulling out all the stops, all the aromatherapy oils, the peanut ball, to try to like give me some relief, like in my body, because I was also like feeling pressure and like cramping. Not pregnant or anything. I'm just literally like bleeding. And it was bad that day. And I do think that it could have been a combination of things. I didn't really eat breakfast. I was like rushing and everything. But, and now looking back, it could have been my sugar. I don't know. All I know is I thought we were gonna have to call the ambulance that day, but I will tell you that we were out there for at least an hour or two waiting for my body to kind of like get back to a place where I could at least stand up and walk to the car. I legit could not make it to the car. And so that was very, very scary for me. And I think that's the first time like it was memorable enough for me to recall it. Like, it was bad. And I was like, okay, I don't know what's going on, and this is not me. I can't keep going on like this. And so that happened. And maybe like a week or two after that, I can't really remember, but it was not that long after that. It had to be within the month. I had a similar spell, but I was at home this time. It's crazy because she was here. That's why I know it had to be within the same month at least. And I guess I was starting a period. I don't even know what was going on. And I was sitting, I had got out the shower. And I was feeling a lot of cramping, a lot of pressure. And usually, like, when you have PCOS and you have bleeding spells like that, or long periods of bleeding, like, it legit is not just it's not spotting or regular flows. It's like a crime scene, and it's bad. So I remember taking a shower and to try to like just feel a little bit better. And I remember getting out of the shower and I had to like sit on the toilet. I was like, maybe I gotta go to the bathroom. Maybe that's why my stomach is hurting. Maybe that's why my back is hurting. And I couldn't really go. So I was like, okay, maybe that's not it. But I couldn't. Then I got dizzy, right? I couldn't get up out the toilet. I couldn't leave the bathroom. So I'm literally in the bathroom just struggling. And I remember I told my husband, I was like, just bring me a towel. I'm gonna lay on the floor right here. I laid on the bathroom floor for at least like 30-45 minutes, if not longer, just trying to muster up the energy to get up off the floor, to at least lay on the bed and all those things. And it was so hard, and I'm pretty sure it crossed his mind to call the ambulance a few times. And I was like, no, just give me time. But I will tell you, that day, when I tell you I was seeing like stars, like shit was spinning and all that, I didn't know what was gonna come. I think I hit my little time, my recording time max, but I didn't know what was gonna come of that day. It was probably the scariest thing I've ever experienced. And after that, that's when I knew. Nope, absolutely not. This is not going to continue. I can't live like this. And if this is happening this close together, this means that this is probably going to happen even more often. And I can't operate like this. I can't live like this. I can't go nowhere like this. I can't do this. Like, no. It freaked me out pretty bad. And I'm pretty sure it freaked my husband out. So that's when I made the decision to be like, okay, look, I have to figure this PCOS thing out, and I got to figure it out fast. And I need to get help. But the current doctor that I had was in Gainesville, where I'm from. I no longer live in Gainesville. And so I had to find one in the metro area. And also, to be very specific, he was a white male doctor. Not knocking him, he wasn't horrible, but at the time I was looking for black female doctors. I don't know, I just wanted to be fully supported by black female doctors. So I wanted a black female chiropractor, I wanted a black female dentist, I wanted a black female gynecologist, and I preferred a black female primary care physician, but well, she's a person of color, so I'll take it. But I was being very specific. But I got lucky, because at the time I had already found my chiropractor, right? So I was already going, had already started treatment there. But like right at the beginning, they do like an intake thing, right? And I remember the girl that did my intake, we were talking, asking questions like, what are my, do I have any diagnoses? What are my conditions? X, Y, and Z. And I was like, yeah, the only thing that I know, you know, that's been a large part of, that I've been diagnosed with is PCOS. And the girl goes, I have PCOS too. And I'm like, oh my gosh, really? Right? And she's like, yeah. I was like, yeah, I've been having a lot of trouble. I can't seem to get a hold of it. I don't really know what to do. And she said, you should see my doctor. And I was like, okay, cool. I'll take your information. I'll check to see if my insurance covers her, like if I can go see her. And so I took her information. I looked her up, and lo and behold, she took my insurance. And so I immediately made an appointment for a PCOS consultation visit. And that was right around October of 2021. Yep, October 2021 is when I seen her, and that's also when I was officially diagnosed with metformin. So, and for the PCOS girls, as they like to say, all the girls, I don't know if I'm saying that right. whatever. For all the PCOS sisters and girls out there, that's when my new leg of this PCOS journey like started for me. But this was the worst of the worst, and all the things I just told you about is what motivated me to just go to the next thing. And at this point, I was willing and ready to do any and everything, and I just really needed to learn this diagnoses. Like, I really still didn't understand. It was just, it was bad. So yeah, that is the worst of the worst on my PCOS so far. And I would love to know if any of you can relate, if any of you have had similar experiences. What did that look like for you? All those things, even to your treatment, if you're going through treatment, or any of the things that you've tried that worked for you. But that is the worst of the worst. Like, it was definitely a horror story for me. And I just pray that I do not go back to that place. I am extremely determined not to go back to that place, and to make sure my body and the things that my body needs, and give my body the things that it needs, so that I don't go back to that place. But that's all I have for this video today. Please don't forget to like, share, subscribe, click that notification button for the next few PCOS updates, and I'll see you on the next video.